Oh, there we go. I screwed
Evening.
that up, didn't I?
Evening.
Evening. Don't know where
there
Vivian
anybody
is.
like that? Oh, one person. There's that
I'm
you.
just
Hi.
sharing it.
We'll be here and be quiet. Kidding. No,
Yeah,
tonight,
sorry, I'm just sharing.
Makes a change you being quiet, like.
No.
At least I'm 5 years to 40. You know, sucks to be you.
I'm waiting for
40
big
next year.
40 next year. Yeah. Well, I'm 52 and I turned that this year, so.
You're only 21, Eric. I'll not give you rubbish, but see him down in the bottom corner.
Yeah. I wish I was 21 again.
So what are we talking about tonight, Eric?
We were talking about paranormal authors.
Awesome. Awesome.
Ones that you like, ones that you might not like, anything.
I'm just going to sit back on this one because I don't really know anyone, to be fair.
I'll start, right?
No, you crack on.
And I'll start with Wayne Seaton.
Oh, wow.
I'm only using him because he's my pal and he writes books. And he's on Amazon Prime. Well, Amazon Kindle. This is where he's got to shoot my boots. I haven't read his book, but in my defence, he reads all his books out in Spookanori. So I like listening, and when I'm depends on where my concentration's at. Like if I've got good concentration, yeah, I can sit with a book for hours. If no, I like listening. So I like listening to Wayne's stories. Because somebody reading it just as much as you reading it, you can still get the same effect. So I would say he is somebody that I really like as a paranormal author. But I've got books on the paranormal. I'm reading one just now called The Element Encyclopedia, Ghosts and Hauntings, by Teresa Chung. So that's quite a good one to look at because it's given me inspiration for subjects, for my shows. So that's a really good one.
That's cool. Hey, Cliff.
Okay.
Hey, Claire.
I don't know, but who do you consider a paranormal author, though? I mean, was it somebody that's in the paranormal that writes books or somebody that just writes scary stories?
I wouldn't say somebody was in, well, like, this is where I probably offend all the authors in the paranormal. I don't mean it knowing the paranormal, but what I mean is, really, did it write anything paranormal, anything supernatural, anything ghost stories? Hey, Nicola.
Hi, Nicola.
That's who really I would class as authors. I mean, empty really that's got their book published. I suppose, in a sense.
Well, I know there's used to. Oh, hey, Nat.
You know,
Funny.
I mean, I know a lot of people that are in the paranormal that wrote books. I know Vivian writes books, which I hope that she gets published soon. And Claire.
hey Claire, how you doing? What doofus picked this subject?
Me.
Oh, had to be you. Typical.
I like
Do you know
Rosemary.
Cliff? I've never read her stuff, but I'll need to. Definitely. Mr.
Ryan?
Seedon, you've dismissed me mentioning you, so I'll start it all over again. The one that I choose has been Seedon. You could go back 5 minutes and watch it. But definitely, I mean, again, I prefer the old ghost stories. See the
Yeah.
ones that you used to get told as a ween.
Yeah.
I miss them. I miss those sort of stories.
Well, yours would be like Scooby Doo.
Yes, Scooby-Doo. Hey, I like
You're just jealous because
I'm
Scooby Doo
absolutely-
liked me, Shaggy. Just because yours was Casper, don't rub it in anybody else.
I'm way back on. Here's Steve.
Hi, Steve.
What, Dave?
Oh, shucks. And Cliff says, I'll send you a book, Lo.
Oh, thanks, Cliff. You're a gem. Goosebumps. Can you remember Goosebumps,
I
Parker?
can remember Goosebumps, yeah. I bet you can't.
Screw you. You're only. You're on the 11th. You will be 50. I'm 5 years to 40, son. Still looking sexy as hell.
No, you're not, Boris.
Oh,
Thanks very much, Ducky. So your husband's picked as a good subject here for us.
yeah, because we don't have anything that we
Yeah.
know about. I know there's like 20 different, paranormal authors, but like Tina St. John, Terry Arthur, Kristen Fay, Karen Mary Moaning. Oh,
That's
there's
I'm
Bill.
stumped here, guys.
Oh, yeah,
Vivian.
Here comes my mama. See, this is why I love when you come on, Mama Viv, because if there's a subject we're no surety, Mama Viv knows it all.
Well, don't know about that, but apologies, guys, for being late. By the time I get home from work, it's around about this time of the evening. So, apologies, everybody. So, yeah, I'm here now.
Well, I've been
But-
waiting for you to come on because I want to change subjects really quick. I want to open that gift that you sent us.
Hi,
There.
Parker.
And
Hello, darling, you all right?
well, I need you on.
Okay, open the parcel.
All right. Waiting 2 days. for
Hi,
this.
Cliff. I sent a parcel to Eric and Rita.
I bet it's got loads of sweets in that, innit?
I wrapped it up very well. I made it waterproof.
Yeah,
How
Got
did you
your
get-
wigs on it.
Well, I got to cut it from this end.
Too bad I'm not there. I throw you this back at you.
Yeah.
That's the wrapping paper.
Yeah.
It's got stars on it.
I see that.
Rita, if you throw it at Parker's face, I'll give you $20. Whack it.
Guys,
Better
for those
watch
that
it,
don't know,
boys.
Holy cow.
we're all in the UK
Whoa, what is that?
and Eric's in America, so that's why he's got a parcel.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can open that. Oh wow.
Are they chocolate?
Show
Oh, yeah,
everyone what you're looking
chocolate.
at.
Hold on.
Show us, Eric. Oh, they're
Yeah,
nice. I like them. Crunchy.
You like these?
Yeah, but yeah, you're really nice.
Can you get those in the States?
No. You can't get these either.
Oh, they're
even
really
know what
nice.
it is.
Curly whirly, and they used to be bigger than that.
Lois,
Oh, yeah.
say curly whirly.
No, because you take me first and I say Curly Whirly.
They've
Well,
got
the
curly
only reason
whirly.
why I said Curly Whirlies at all is because I used to watch Thin Blue Line with Troy Atkins. Is his name? Is it the guy that played Bean?
Oh, Rowan Atkinson.
Roy Atkinson. And the Thin Blue Line, and one of his police officers always said, "You squished my Curly Whirly."
He says it better than me.
Ooh, it is. I have never heard of these before.
Oh, I don't like them.
Turkish
Oh, they're
delight.
bogging.
Well,
What?
They're amazing.
Card, Viv.
read it.
You do realise you have to share all this with Rita.
Yeah, I do.
This is just a thank you for everything you do. She appreciates it. And then she just says best wishes and coming New
Ooh,
Year from
cheapers.
Viv,
Show,
They're
Andy,
nice.
John, and Sophie.
show that to Lois.
They're nice.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not on it. Tea cake lassie.
See,
I'm
they're
your
nice. They are.
camel log or
They're
camel
Scottish.
waver.
They're Scottish, those ones.
Yeah.
Aye, but English will tell you I'm racist against the Scottish. I don't like
This is
anything
what I've been
Scottish. I
waiting-
don't like the-
This is the one I've been waiting for.
I am Brew.
That's what you try first, Eric.
Why
You
don't
try
I-
that first, my boy.
You don't know.
He's putting that over
Friday
there.
He's like, crack open that. I've actually his base.
Actually, they're really good.
Give the other
See?
one to Rita. There's 2 of those in there.
Hold on, I'll get that one. That way she can have a. Let me get this one.
Soda.
Yeah. It's like a. Oh, it's a bottle one. The regular one.
Cool.
That's the regular one.
Yeah, try it. She never had it before, so.
I never had it before.
See, I like how Eric does that. He keeps the good stuff for himself and gives Rita the shit.
They got one each. They've got one each.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Well, now we found our official drink for when we move. There's another can in here too. Curly Whirly. What is this? Oh, actual tea.
Yorkshire tea. That's good.
Mm.
Good cup of tea. That.
I'll have to try it.
Toast
later.
and jam?
It
I'm gonna
tastes
make
of
it.
toast and jam.
Yeah.
No.
Why does it
Do
show?
you get that done now?
Why does it show making it? Oh, because it's toast and jam. They're like, when we're supposed to put it in my toaster.
No, you're supposed to just make a cup of tea. With
Make
tea
a brew
bag.
with it.
Here's the other can of. But don't try it now.
I know I'm not going to open it. I'll just.
Well, thank you, Viv. I
Hi,
appreciate
William.
Thank
that.
you, Viv.
Hi, Lisa.
Thanks very much, guys. You've set my pal off. She's just asked me to say Curly Whirly.
Go on, say it.
Whirly. Curly
Curly
whirly.
whirly.
Yeah, you want to see Curly Whirly?
Say it. So
Curly
you can
Whirly.
No.
crack it. Go on.
Oh, those are crunchy. Here's my Curly Whirly.
Curly Whirly?
Yeah.
So you got a few to be getting on with now. So you got to share. You got to share with
I want to
with
see what's in
Rita.
it. Oh, yeah, I will. Well, there's enough for all of it. There's a lot
Should
in there.
last you a little while.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
So what do you think of the Iron Brew?
I like it.
I love it.
It's better tasting than that one soda.
There you go. Yeah, they did, Steve. Yeah, they used to be massive, but they're
Really?
tiny
Yeah,
now.
they used to be big now.
So I sent the parcel the same time as I sent Parker's little card to him.
Mm-hmm.
And Parker's went down the road to Essex and yours went to Wisconsin. And
Yep.
yours, they both got there at the same time.
Wow.
That's mental.
Go figure that. I can't work it out. There you go. And there you go. So we're talking about paranormal authors tonight.
Yep.
And I know that we have one author in the chat from Spookanori.
Mm.
But there are very many different pathways when it comes to paranormal authors. You have I'm going to pronounce this wrong. It's the mystical.
Mystical.
I can't pronounce that word. Anyway, the mystical pathway or the spiritual books, let's say, you've got those. You've got the paranormal books, how to look at this ghost, this is supposed to be haunted, that sort of thing, factual ones. And then you have fiction. I say fiction, and I use that word loosely because no one can prove ghosts, not in our lifetime. And then you have the stories, the storytellers, like, for instance, for an example, Spookanori with Wayne's, or I've gone blank. Sorry.
Yeah, we have all.
The guy that we had on, Simon Entwistle, last week, he's like a storyteller, but he takes factual stories and writes up a story about them. So I don't know whether he's adding bits or whether he sticks to the facts. So, what are your favourite authors of paranormal? Why are they your favourite? And do you keep gravitating back to Chad Lewis? Ooh. Do you keep gravitating back to the same books for reference? Your thoughts, guys. Arthur C. Clarke wrote a load of books way back when in the 70s. And he sparked a lot of people's imagination into things strange, amazing, and wonderful. And I suppose that would hit the supernatural genre, because not only did he touch on ghosts, he also wrote about other things, UFOs, the Bermuda Triangle, things that disappeared. And he covered a whole vast spectrum. From that, the TV shows came. And they were shown as a bit of not a documentary, but like a factual thing, like a bit like William Shatner's doing now, you know. So he sort of was a pioneer for this sort of thing. Do you guys not agree? Do you even know who Arthur C. Clarke is?
Yes, I know who Arthur C. Clarke is.
I know he's an author, but that's it.
Yeah. We also have Arthur C. Clarke, the only true scientist, author, investigator. Yes, he did so much for the weird and the wonderful. He did so much for the weird and the wonderful. And I think as well, Arthur C. Clarke also brought to it was already in the public media. It was already, people had it, in the newspapers and things like that. But Arthur C. Clarke even wrote more on the Enfield haunting, the Enfield haunting, and he actually obtained photographs of the writings on the wall and the faces in the tiles that appeared. So he did a lot for.
Hey, William.
Hi, William. He did a lot for the Enfield haunting and for the people involved in it by doing that and writing his thoughts and factual accounts of what was going on at the time. So he actually, he did more than what us, like the normal layperson, actually realise. He went and investigated this thing and had his thoughts, but he didn't. He stuck to the facts, and everything he presented, he got presented to him was presented to us. Wow. So yeah, Arthur C. Clarke, somebody truly amazing, top of the tree as far as I'm concerned when it comes to the books. I mean, you can also buy big journals of his and use them as reference books, but he goes right the way back. On the spiritual side, for me, it has to be the late great medium herself, Doris Stokes. So she would come under the paranormal genre for me, as well as the spiritual. And I'll tell you why. When I was past those books in my teens, because I was having issues with what was coming through, my nan threw them at me. She said, right, you're old enough now, read that book, and then we'll sit and have a discussion afterwards. So when I was reading Doris Stokes, the Voices, is it called Voices in My Ear, was the first one, I think. Don't quote me. I read that book from cover to cover, couldn't believe what I was reading, and reread it again. And I even got a pencil and underlined the same bits that was happening to me. You know, she would explain about her childhood, what she's, and I'll be like, I get that, I get that, I get that. And then me and my nan had a conversation like, you're not on your own sort of thing. So when it comes to this other side of it, Doris Stokes, I hold her even to this day. She is up here for me. I do what I do today because of Doris Stokes. So for me, my favourite paranormal author would have to be, well, it doesn't really come under paranormal, but it doesn't, would be Doris Stokes, because it meant so much to me personally. And I also got the opportunity to go and do mediumship at her church on the platform she stood on. And unbeknownst to me at the time, I gave a reading to a young lady in the audience and I gave the reading. I could hear the lady, I saw an outline, but I didn't see the woman herself. I saw the outline. She was standing next to me. She was talking to me very calmly and was calling me darling and sweetheart. And she was tell the lady this and tell the lady that. And yeah, we spoke about horse. Hi, Bri. We spoke about a horse, and we spoke about the rag and bow man, and we did all of this. And a man come running out of the office and stood at the back and was watching. And then before I wrapped up the evening's clairvoyance or demonstration of clairvoyance, he had already disappeared. I was nervous anyway, giving that reading in her church, because this was my this is Doris's church, you know. And so when it was all over and I was sitting down having a cup of tea, and people are coming up to you, know, as they do when you're having a cup of tea and a biscuit, and I was taken to the office. And the man in the office, Mr. Robinson, was Doris Stokes' manager. The lady I was giving the reading to, that he came running out to listen, was his wife. And when I was describing the voice and the outline and what I could see, the little snippets that I could see, he did say to me, the person that you was getting the messages from was Doris Stokes herself. And so I burst into tears because it was so overwhelming. Wow. But it was lovely. It was lovely. And I am honoured. I'm honoured that she chose me to do that too. I'm honoured that I got to read her books. I'm honoured that I learned from that woman, even though it wasn't directly, it was an indirect learning. So yeah, so for me, amazing. But come on, I've been speaking far too much. Lois, what about you?
I would say the likes of Stephen King. See all the old ghostwriters like Stephen King. When you look at Mary Shelley, she done a cracking book. We obviously Anne Rice was another good one. Interview with the vampire. So like all the old ghost stories, I love so much. As I was just saying before you came on, I'm reading a good book just now that it's like the inspiration really for how I pick my subjects. Because there's things that I read and I was showing the guys it, and it's the Element Encyclopedia of Ghosts and Hauntings.
Those are really good. What do you think about those encyclopedias? Because I think they're good reference books as well.
They are good reference books. And Stephen King's my favourite as well. They're really, really good, and I'll tell you why. Because there's things that in there that I'd either forgotten about or I didn't know. So it was quite good. to obviously sit and read, and it is good. I mean, I've not only just got that one, I've got Secret Societies and History, and I've got other ones as well.
Thank you, Beth.
Oh, but they books are really, really good for reference, and I would definitely recommend MD to get them to read, definitely.
I think there still is on BBC Two at Christmas. They do a Christmas ghost story,
Yeah.
but you have to check your listings because every year I manage to miss it. But I still believe the BBC still around. It is around midnight. They do a Christmas ghost story. If you're in mind, I'm going to tell you all my secrets.
Go ahead.
It's good to listen to or watch the Christmas lectures as well.
All right.
Interesting. They are really interesting to see the Christmas lectures. So yeah, if you get an opportunity, have a look and see what you think. Sorry, Lois, I was
It's alright, love. Sorry. I read a ghost story live. I'll need to catch it, Wayne.
I think Richard Felix also does ghost stories at Christmas. He does ghost stories around the open fire as well. There's a lot of people that do them.
Yeah. You want?
Your books of the paranormal, yes.
No.
Yeah. What about you, Parker? What inspires you?
Neither.
Like I said to you on Monday night on the phone, that
Vino?
I'm not really a bookworm person, to be fair. So I'd rather listen to it on a Kindle or.
Thanks, see you later. Oh, that'll be a good one.
So, Eric, this actually belonged to my nan, and I lost the dust cover. So, apologies for that. I'll show you this side. So I lost the dust cover, but this came from my nan and been in the family for a very long time.
Wow.
And it's called the Encyclopedia of Ghosts and Spirits, written by John and Anne Spencer. In this book, it's like a reference book. It's got also by John Spencer, and I'll read it to you. UFOs 1947 to 1987, Phenomenon, Perspectives, the UFO Encyclopedia, available from Headline. So he does all sorts of things, but the reason I picked this book up, because it's not just heavy reading. In the centre here are some very lovely pictures. Now, this picture, this is really, really weird. This picture is of Ramsey Abbey in Cambridgeshire. Now, I lived in London. And, you read this book and you sort of look at it and you go, meh, you don't think about it.
That's cool.
Later on in life, I moved to somewhere.
Yeah.
Not deliberately. I moved to somewhere, and Ramsey Abbey, I can get to that in 10 minutes in the car.
Oh wow.
So it has synchronicities. It talks about hauntings that I know about, that I've been told about, that I grew up with. Some known, some unknown, but these are the older stuff. So it's not the newly published stuff. This is the old stuff that has been going on for a long time. There's my hero there, the man himself, Maurice Grosse. So it talks about things about paranormal in this particular book, time slips, all sorts of things. And again, I would use this today, and it's so old, as a reference book. Like, people are too quick to jump on the new stuff that comes out, but you're missing a trick by looking at this older stuff, pre-loved stuff. Go in the charity shops, go to the library. You can buy used books in the library. Look online for secondhand books, because some of the books that you can buy secondhand, some people don't even know what they're selling. And I think Dan Dan is so jammy. I don't know where he is tonight, but he has a book at home signed by his hero. What's his name?
Harry Price.
Harry Price.
Nice.
So they were in a second-hand bookstore looking at books, and I think his missus picked up a book about the Enfield haunting that he'd written, and he had signed it, and she went to pay for it. How much is this book? Said £10. She went, is that all? She went, yeah, £10. She went, oh, okay, then she just gave him £10 and quickly left the shop. That book today is worth so much money. You know, so I would always say, if you want, don't just look at the new stuff, look at some of the older stuff and the what I call the stories that came down sort of by mouth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And somebody's gone out and sort of, a bit like what Mr. Entwistle's doing it today, but they're doing it on a different slant. But yeah, I'd say don't forget these older books. I was actually acquired this book, and it's quite a naughty book. But I have some Dennis
50
Wheatley
Shades of
stuff.
Grey.
Do what? Sorry.
50 Shades of Grey.
No, nothing like that. No, it's like Dennis Wheatley. Some of the older stuff. I've got some books. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've got some old books like on hypnotism, how to hypnotize people, that sort of thing. If those kind of books got into the wrong hands, I think we'd all be in trouble. So I have a section of books which I call my naughty section, which I don't really sort of get out and show people.
Yep.
And there's some books that you can find online, but you have to really search to get them.
Yeah.
And they are expensive. And they're not brand new books either. Some books on hi Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah Louise.
Hey, you're not late, Sarah. So
Only
yeah,
half hour.
I would always say to people, if you like a good read, you like a good book, it's always worth having a nose in these unknown and obscure places. I mean, I've picked up some amazing books that came out of New York to do with paranormal that go back years and years and years when it was like a new science that they were looking at, you know, and they were writing their journals. I've got some of those. So yeah, it is always worth just having a little nosy. If it's not your cup of tea, it's fine. You put the book down, but you're quite surprised at what you can find that's out there. What about you, Eric? What are your favourite books?
Well, Stephen King is my favorite of all time.
Who? Stephen King.
Yep. Because I just my favorite one of all time is Silver Bullet. It's just amazing. Because I like werewolves and I like his stories. So.
Yeah, you do get some books that are really sort of they're selling you the Hollywood story, so based on a true story. And I have a series of them. I'm not going to mention who the author is. Oh, I love the bunny. I'm not going to mention who the author is because that would be unfair. But they are based in the States, and they wrote a series of books in collaboration with. And what they did was they took the true story, added quite a bit on for Hollywood, made it so far-fetched. And I bought the series of books and I spoke to one of the people that was involved in the case, let's say. And when I said to her that I'd read the book and this sort of thing, and she said, and she was quite embarrassed. She went, "Oh my God, please understand, bits were added on. It's not my words. This is not what happened. I didn't get the final say." And even when they made the film, they added even more on for Hollywood. So so sometimes you have to take it a little bit tongue in cheek because it's written about by said person doesn't mean it actually happened. That makes sense?
Yeah.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I have to look at David Owen's books. There's some people that I find that I don't know that ever wrote anything. You know, I know them, but I didn't know that they wrote books. So
They've got cryptid books out. No, we've got to mention the cryptid side of things because some of the cryptid information is absolutely fascinating. If you're into Cryptids UK, I can fully recommend Andy McGrath's The Beasts of Britain, Beasts of Britain, or something like that. It's called. I'm heavily into my Bigfoot, as you know, and I have been collecting books. I go to see a certain gentleman's museum with a certain gentleman that I have who's a very good friend of mine in Oregon, and I think he's listening in the chat. Hello, William.
William.
And I drag him. It's not even his forte, and the museum's really small. The first time it was interesting. The second time he said, "Okay, I'll come, but be quick."
Just for a ride.
You know, it's like- and the next time I go, I want to go again. He said, "Oh, I'll drop you off and pick you up," is what he says.
you know what? I'm gonna buy that when I get my paid at the end of the month, because the audio is only $6.04. So
David Oman's book.
no, The Beast of Britain by Andy McGrath.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
It's a really good book, and he's bringing out a documentary next year. He's been busy filming it this year, so he is what I call a proper researcher. He knows his stuff, and he's been on lots of interviews. He's an author. He follows his work up. He investigates, and he's quite serious about what he does. So I can recommend his books. Definitely.
I also like what Barry Fitzgerald writes too. He's really good
Yes. Now, Barry. Oh my God. Barry's just blown my mind.
too. Yeah.
Barry's blown my mind. I've got a pen drive with about 50 books on witchcraft and old methods of divination at eBay. It's fascinating. Yeah. Do you know what? If you want some really good books to read, and I'm not just saying it because I'm gonna call you out now, William Southey. He posts on his Facebook. I know he's in the chat, but William Southey has got me absolutely intrigued, and I am going to be reading some books now on alchemy.
Yeah.
And to understand a bit more about what I'm doing, what I've read elsewhere, I think it ties in with alchemy. And so if you're interested in alchemy and you want to learn more, Annette, you might find this interesting. Go on William Southey's timeline, and he posts what the books that he's reading. He actually shares with people. If you want a good read this. If you want a good read this, you know. And he leaves it up to you. He doesn't force you. But that I've written down some titles that William has recommended, and I've got them on my Christmas list if I can get them found. But yeah, now have a look on William Southey's timeline if you're interested in alchemy. It's a more serious, very serious way of looking at things. But it works. It works. It definitely works. So, do you read or do you look at? There's not many around, but there are some paranormal books that just have pictures in.
Yeah.
That would be like Parker's kind of book.
Aye, he reads the Beano. He likes the Beano.
I'll translate that. That was Beano. Okay.
Beano.
Ghost Hunting for Dummies. Is it Zach Bagans? That's your book, in it, Parker?
Yeah.
Get it, midnight?
But there are books where they just have pictures. This is the haunting at Campton Court Palace, and there's a thing standing in the doors with the doors wide open, which has proved to be fake.
Yeah.
And there's a haunting of this, and there was another picture of this. There's a little girl standing on the stairs of a oh God, what was it? She's in a there's a building, you know, the fire exit on the stairs outside. She's standing
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Proved to be a fake. Proved to be a fake. There's another famous one that was put into this particular book that I saw. It's a picture of a black cab, and it looks like a man in the black cab, in the back having a ride. The taxi was empty when the picture was taken. That's proved to be a fake. There's so many fakes out there, and they were doing that back in the early 80s, faking pictures with the negatives and things. So yeah, they I'm doing a crypto news for Spookanori in future.
That sounds
Well,
so good.
well, I've got my book here. I've got my book here that's been written. Ghost stories. I actually am writing a real fact. There's 2 books that will be coming out, but they're going to be a long time coming because I need to find the time and sit and write properly.
Yeah.
But there are 2 books. One's taken me 3 years to get to this point that I'm at now. That may come out next year, if I can find the right publisher, because I don't want to publish through Amazon. This story is far too important to be publishing through Amazon. Maybe Amazon can take it on at a later date and there'll be copies of, but yeah, and there is that very, very extreme haunting. Yeah, no, I get it, Wayne. I completely get it. So, yeah, there are and you know, it's nice if you can write a book. It's something. You're leaving a bit of a legacy behind, aren't you? That the books that I write, one of them is going to be a warning, basically. And when I say the warning, it's that extreme haunting, and it will be written down. I've got all the notes, I've got all the diaries, I've got everything, I've got the photographs. Everything will go in that book, and it's a bit like a warning from the author's point of view. But how other people read it and how they take it is down to them. It hasn't been published before. I do have permission. The owner of the building has subsequently passed away, so now the story can be told. But it's finding the time to do this all, because I lead a normal life. I go to work, I come home, do the housework, you know, like you, Jay. You go to work,
and that's it.
But Lois should be writing a book, I tell you, with the stuff that she knows with all their serial killers and stuff. Scottish serial killers.
Oh, is this good? In that case, then, well, there'll be plenty to write about.
Life of a podcaster.
Oh, Christ, if I had to write a story about that, oh, wow. That's the problem if you write in spare time, it takes to write normal.
Well, the thing is, like, my story gets written, then I type it up. So it gets written freehand from notes that I've made. It then gets written freehand. I then type it up. So as I'm typing it up, I'm changing, rewording, using colloquialism, metaphors to describe things, all that sort of thing. So it ends up longer. Then I do the spell check, which takes forever. And then once it's all printed off, that's going to somebody to proofread it. And the proofreader is my mother.
Right.
So my mother will be reading it with a great big marker pen and a red pen, you know, because my mum is the best person, I think, to read it. There's somebody that I trust. And then once she's done that, it's retyped again, exactly how it is, making whatever changes that need to be made to change, and then it will go off to the publishers. This other book has illustrations. I'm an art. Well, I used to be good at art, so normally I'm writing the book, I'm putting the illustrations in as well. And where I can't put the illustrations in, I'm getting my daughter-in-law to draw stuff. So I'm not going to have to credit her into the book. So, yeah, So it is a long drawn process for me. Very long drawn process.
I remember
Come
him
on,
saying,
kids.
Oh, that's nice.
That is cute. That's really good. So, paranormal authors, what do we think of them? When it comes to ghost hunting, do you think there's a need for them, Eric? Do we need to know the stories? Do we need to know?
well, I'd like to know the people, what they catch, what they think it is and stuff like that. If they write them down, like that, that'd be great, But I'm still going to go out and see what I can find out,
What about you, Parker? Paranormal, ghost stories, ghost hunts, that sort of thing. Is there a need for them?
I think so. Sometimes, they can be fictional or facts, whatever, but sometimes it will be interesting on someone else's point, because we've got our own points, what we believe in. But with someone that just writes a book because they want to publish a book or they're interested in the paranormal, then it's good to hear what they want to, what they hear, if that makes sense.
What about you, Lois?
I've got to agree with Parker.
Oh, yeah, you're all right.
Are you
Are you feeling all right?
I
love?
don't know. I'm not Ian. I've got to agree with Parker. He makes one decent point. I mean, once a year. I mean, this is the month to the year. So he makes a good point. But yeah, I've got to agree. But sometimes you've got to kind of watch them as well, because they could put facts in there that might not actually be the truth, due to the lack of research, or just wanting to kind of make the story look a lot brighter. Somebody's not going to read something boring, they're going to want something.
I'm going to respond to Wayne's message there that he's put. I don't like reading factual stories of the paranormal. I feel that if I was to visit these locations, the power of suggestion could lead astray. I read about them afterwards. Now, my question to you is, Wayne, if you don't know that this place exists, how would you know to go there? So reading about them in the first place sparks an interest. It's about your own self-control, about not being led by the power of suggestion. Take people that don't know that this place is haunted. Just take them there. Keep going back to the same place. You can't just go once and say, oh, no, that's not haunted, or, oh, yeah, that is haunted. You have to keep going back to the same place, document your findings or non-findings, and go back again. Different times of the day, evening, daytime, the whole shebang. And then after that, decide. But yeah, the power of suggestion to me, that doesn't wash with me. But that's me personally. But Wayne says he hears about them from other authors. I just don't like knowing what's there, etc. Yeah, well, that's fair enough. But if you don't know, how would you know what to investigate? You could walk into, I've been in places where you could walk into an asylum that's got hundreds and hundreds of rooms and corridors and all that sort of thing. How would you know where to concentrate?
Yeah, where would you know where to lead?
So you have to start somewhere. And even if you start there and you get nothing and you go elsewhere and you get something, you document it, you go back. It's an ongoing thing. But yeah, I get what Wayne says. And a lot of people are in that same category as Wayne, where they don't like to be fed information and that sort of thing. But if you're going as your own private group, it doesn't matter. Wayne, do it, honestly, and keep going back there. But if you're with a big crowd of people on a public event, that's different. You won't get a proper investigation anyway. So yeah, knowing the history, like Nicholas just said, knowing the history, reading about the history, finding out as much as you can before you even go, or after, or after the fact. Does it tie in? I mean, I think, Lois, you had an experience with that, where you went somewhere and you found out about the history, when you was on the stairs and you had that funny turn or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose in a way, hey, Kerry, I suppose in a way, if we look at it as well, we get inspiration really when we're out on ghost hunts with stories. or a place we've been, or something we've seen.
Pussycat.
Oh, hello, Pussycat.
Hello, Midnight.
Oh,
That's John's girlfriend, that is.
where is John?
John's been an arsehole. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. He's been stealing my hairbands and running around the house with them. So I've got hairbands all over the place. Gonna
Oh,
stuff
for
up my
sake,
Hoover.
I was written about roughing him control tower for admin. Then I'll sad to then watch.
Do you know, Rufham's a funny thing because this is where I ended up on Anglian Regional News. So we were going to Ruffham Towers and I thought, I don't know this place. I don't know anything about it. I'm going to have a look at the history. And found out that, and this wasn't from paranormal investigators or anything to do with ghost hunting, that a local had got pissed one night and thought he'd come out of the pub and thought he'd take a shortcut on the way home and walk through the runway of Ruffham.
I'll have a look in your clip.
And as he did that, he felt as though somebody very big was standing behind him, and he had nuts and bolts being thrown at him.
Wow.
And he, when he turned around to have a look, there was an outline or a figure of someone very tall, and he all of a sudden sobered up and ran home because it scared him that much.
Wow.
So that was the story about Ruffham. So when I went to Ruffham, I want to go on the airfield. I want to go on the airfield. And it was while walking the airfield that a photograph was taken. Now, this story had been going for years, and they nicknamed this particular shadowy figure Little Jack. It is a Mickey take because he's not little, he's huge. And a photograph was taken of me. I heard a big thud on mud, turned around with my torch, and at the same time, my friend took a picture. And we caught him. Full apparition of Little Jack. I didn't see it at the time, and I think I'm glad I didn't see it at the time. I heard it. We kept seeing strange shadows right in the distance on the airfield, but they kept running away as we were trying to get closer to them just to rule them out. Years later, I went back with Jamie. And I'm going to let Jamie tell you about the airfield of Ruffham when we were there. Go on, tell him, Jamie.
It was quite bitter that night as well, so it kind of put the thing. So me, Viv, and a couple of others decided to go on the airfield. What Viv experienced, so we was walking over, laughing and joking. We got to the end of the airfield, wasn't it? In that tight little corner where the turning bay for the beast.
I must say, it wasn't quite dark at this time.
No,
it was still daylight.
So where the B-17s used to turn around to go onto the runway, we were like in the roundabout bit. And first off, we saw a shadow. So it was like we kind of picked up the pace to see where it went. So it didn't, like Viv said, they were going all over the place. They were hiding and stuff. Yeah. Then we stood there and we heard.
We were having a fag. We was all standing in a line and we were having a cigarette.
You could hear the tools and that it sounded on the concrete, wasn't it?
No, this is the one where the shadows. Tell me about the shadows.
I can't.
So we were standing there having a cigarette, just chatting. Well, you lot guys were chatting. And it seemed as though we were standing in a line. Not quite a line, but we were in a line. And they're standing there chatting, and I'm just on my own, just out of the conversation because it's not as above my pay grade. Anyway, they were talking, and I looked at the shadows that we were casting. So there was 4 of us, but 5 shadows.
Wow.
And when I said to the guys, guys, and they didn't hear me at first because I was like not shouting, and I went, Jay, he went, what? I was, count the shadows like this. And he counted the shadows. He goes, I can see 5 shadows. I said, there's fucking 4 of us. And with that, they went, sorry, apologies for the language. They went, oh shit, and then they looked because the shadow, the extra shadow, was next to me.
Yeah.
So they went to sort of look at the shadow, and it took off. You see the shadow go woof, and they went running after it, and I'm standing there like trying to catch up behind. Away from it, but they couldn't catch it. They could not catch it. But the shadow went like, it's like, oh shit, like the game's up. I better leg it out here. Yeah, that was Ruffham.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was one day I'll never forget, because it was just Parker. I went, Jay, count the shadows.
Shadows.
Count the shadows. I was like beside myself because it's not next to me.
We've got 5.
I was like, I don't like it.
Yeah. Yes.
But no, Ruffham, as Ellen, like Wayne says, Ellen knew about Jack before we went there. See, the first time when she found the picture of him on the wall. Do you know what? It is worth, you know, when it comes to Ruffham. I mean, and Wayne will tell you, there's a plethora of things that happen there. But the airfield is the place where people
miss out.
Don't want to investigate for some reason, and they don't do the homework or the history beforehand. And it's the airfield that I've had some of the best experiences there. And I know about the plane crash there, actually on the runway. It's a very sad story, but doing that and looking at that is keeping the stories alive as well, you know, so it's a good thing, I think.
Are there nuts in them?
I miss the old, do you know what? I'm going to be really honest. I just miss the old-fashioned way, sitting around a campfire telling stories. Do you the old way you used to do it before, like...
You can't beat that, can you? That doesn't happen much anymore, does it? People just sitting there, just talking about, oh, did you hear about the story about the axe murderer that escaped from the local asylum?
Yeah,
they talk about those stories, and then you think, you know, they're far-fetched, but let's go and find the local asylum and see if it's still there. You know, that's
definitely. Or that time that
Eric's eating. What are you eating, Eric? He's curly whirly.
What's that, Lo?
Curly whirly.
No, Lois, what's that?
Oh,
curly whirly.
She says it's so lovely. I love it. So have you tried a curly whirly before, Eric?
Mm-mm.
And what do you think of it?
I like it.
Does Rita like? Has Rita tried one?
Yeah, you like it, dear? Yeah, she likes it.
So tell Rita to grab that bag of Turkish Delight and don't share it with Eric. You can have one.
That's an afternoon set.
Oh, it's funny. It's hard to work out what confectionery we have over here that they don't have over there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's the same with the Scottish things, like the Tunnocks is definitely Scottish, and the Iron Brew is Scottish. So,
yep.
Can he beat it? Eric's having a sneaky choking.
Fight into a crunchy. Is it me, or am I the only person that does this? I love dipping a crunchy into a mug of tea and sucking it.
No.
I love it.
Yeah, I eat all the chocolate around it and then eat the honeycomb.
That's because you're a weirdo.
Well, we know he's a weirdo. So paranormal authors.
I don't care.
Are we going to give them a thumbs up? I think we should.
Yeah, we do, but I don't like Jolly Ranchers, though.
They're the ones.
Jolly Ranchers?
Yeah, I don't like them.
Well, you can get them over here.
Yeah, but they're bloody expensive. They're like £6 for a bag.
Jolly Ranchers, I've seen them fairly cheap somewhere, and I can't even remember where. I think B&M sell Jolly Ranchers. And the Jolly Rancher gummies. Jolly Rancher gummies. And I think Jolly Ranchers are okay. but it's really the grape ones
Yes.
or the watermelon ones.
The grape
Otherwise, don't
juice you
bother.
brought back was nice.
You like the grape juice?
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, paranormal authors. I think there is definitely a need for them, whether you like them or don't like them. I think as well for the people like Wayne that writes ghost stories, and Nick, the stories start with a seed, and that seed has come from an experience or a story that they've heard about a haunting. So they have got some grains of truth involved in it. When you think about, let's refer back to Stephen King. He wrote a book about, is it Rose Red? Is it Rose Red? Am I thinking right?
I don't know.
And it's on a par with the Winchester the Winchester Murder House, not Winchester Murder House, the Winchester House, where the woman, the man that Mr. Winchester that made the gun, and she kept adding on to the house. So there's a story that Stephen King wrote about, and so that has that similarity there. So did he base that story on the Winchester House? Maybe. So I think that even people that are writing just normal ghost stories, there is something that sparks this story off. Behind it, there is something that's putting that there in the first place. And I'm sure with Wayne may agree or not agree, but I think there's something that sparks his story that comes
Rita's
from
dying.
Is
Yeah.
Rita all right?
You're not supposed to choke on the curly whirly.
I'm not.
She's choking. Go and tap her on the back.
I can't. Can we? She's
Come
got.
Right. Cliff sent me this picture.
That's cool.
Who sent you that picture? What's that?
Cliff,
I can't see
wait a
it.
minute, I'm trying to get it into the
It's Rosemary.
Oh,
mystery,
Where's
legends, and unexplained phenomena, ghosts and
Wow.
haunted places.
But I do know the Winchester house does have stairs that go to nowhere, an upside down room, and all that stuff that they say in the book. So
please check out Rosemary Ellen Gailey. I just found her a couple of weeks ago, but sadly she passed. Oh. Well, on my list, my Christmas list this year, I've been so selfish this year. I've asked for the Boy George biography that he's written. I like Boy George.
so do I.
Love him or hate him, I find that man absolutely fascinating, and he's got such a kind heart. So I've asked, and I've loved Boy George. One of the first concerts I've ever went to was Boy George to see Culture Club. So I asked for that book. How sad am I? I also want to quickly mention before we do wrap up tonight that going to these places of interest, you will find books. Like you go to a museum, you might find a book in a museum and you just walk past them and don't take any notice. I went to Duxford, and while I was in Duxford, at the time, it was quite close to Remembrance Sunday, and everyone, that film War Horse came out, and everyone was raving about that film and the war and remembering what happened and all the rest of it. But while I was there, I noticed a book called
War
Dogs. Yeah.
War Dog.
Oh,
Now,
the
this
German
book, oh God, it is a true story. And this book I bought in Duxford because they're sort of, I suppose, yeah. So, you know, I suppose they want to talk about the genre that. But this book is about a dog of war, and basically how a Polish airman ended up fighting in enemy lines with this dog. and he took planes, and the dog would sit on his lap while he was. Anyway, it's a brilliant book, but finding out the true stories. I'm sure there's places I could go where maybe there's a sticky residue of what happened to this guy with the dog or the war itself, So from reading things like that, in a funny sense, if you're reading a story, but you're actually researching without realizing it, you'll be somewhere. I could go over to, go and see somebody that I know, go and visit, and this is the place where this happened. Oh, we'll just go and have a quick look. You might take out a sneaky voice recorder or take lots of pictures or do something really weird just to see if you get anything. It's just human nature from reading just a simple story about somebody's experiences. I think it is important. History, it is history. And history, whether you're American, British, Irish, Scottish, doesn't matter where you're from. History is important, and it's from history we should learn. Good, bad, or ugly.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or ugly. But yeah, I embrace anyone that puts pen to paper. I embrace anyone that writes about something, whether it's made up, whether it's a fantasy fairy tale, anything, whether it's a children's book, it doesn't matter. I embrace those people that put the time in. And you make your own decisions from reading the books yourselves, and you decide how you want to use it or not use it, whatever the case may be. But yeah, I like them. And you know what? I'm glad Dan's not here. Dan would have had a rant because there's a lot of plagiarism going on at the moment, especially since Amazon. Yeah, especially since Amazon allowed self-publishing, and how people will take somebody else's book, change the cover, and then take that for their own work. And I know of two people that this has happened to recently. So those people that do that, shame on you.
Yeah.
At least go and speak to the author, see if you could work with the author and do something with it rather than taking it word for word and passing it off as your own. That really isn't the way to go. And I know that Dan would have had a bit of a rant about that. But Dan is going through a bit at the moment, so we'll just leave Dan be, bless him. Yeah, but plagiarism definitely is not on.
No.
That's it. Have we still got tickets for the event on the 2nd?
This Saturday, yes, we are having the Simply Spooky social at the Village Church Farm. At the Village Church Farm this Saturday for £30, you will get a bit of a social, a ghost hunt if you want it, a horrible secret Santa. So you'll get a gift of some sort. Might not be brilliant. Yeah. Might not be brilliant, but it'll be a laugh. And we feed you all for £30. So
Really good.
it starts at 7:30 and we'll go on till 2:00. Maybe a little bit later, but the official time is 2:00. And we have a thoroughly great time and a good laugh. And it's such a haunted location as well. So you get the run of the place. The Dark Mirror Boys will be there. I don't know if Wayne's coming. Wayne, are you coming on Saturday? Mark and Rachel will definitely be there. Myself and my hubby will be there. I don't know if Dan will be going because he's got a lot going on at the moment at home. Parker's birthday, because we kidnapped Parker last year. We have to let him go with these friends this year so he can get drunk.
It's not actually my birthday, so it's my birthday weekend because the 11th is the Monday. So people can't do because they've got work parties, Christmas parties. So
Christmas parties, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Sarah, don't worry. We will try and get down to Barry Island. I know we keep saying this, but we will. We'll turn up there one day. You watch.
Barry Island.
Yeah. But yeah, so that is this Saturday, and we need to do something in Scotland as well.
Oh,
in
that
the
means seeing
year.
Lewis.
It does. We were supposed to be doing it this year, but it went out of the window. So next year is
Oh,
definitely on the cards.
I mean, I'm more than happy to see you, Viv. I'll be over the moon to see Dan, but that sack of shit at that side,
So,
I'll not be so happy to
Parker,
see.
not Eric, not Eric.
No,
We'd
Eric,
always
that
be happy
way.
to see
Oh,
Eric.
wait no, wait no, I'm pointing to Viv.
That way.
Oh, wait no.
It's
No,
the
it's the
opposite direction, isn't it?
Opposite, Dopey.
yeah.
So yeah, we still have tickets. If you're interested in going, you can message me on my Facebook page. You can message the Simply Spooky Network page. You can message Parker, Lois, Dan, Wayne, Mark, anyone, and we will point you in the right direction. But there are still places available if you would like to go. I know that the weather puts a lot of people off, but honestly, don't let it put you off. It's great. It's a great place. So that's happening this Saturday. Tomorrow night, we might not have a spooky show tomorrow night because Dan obviously can't make it, and it is my grandson's birthday tomorrow. So
Happy birthday.
So he's 3.
Yes, apparently so, Sarah, but I'll see it when I believe it.
But we will be back the following week, don't you worry, to talk about what happened over the weekend and what went on. So we might even get Mark and Wayne on the show. We'll see. We'll wait and see what happens to talk about all things the Simply Spooky social. We'll see. On Thursday, do you have a...
Yes, on Thursday we are doing part 2 of Nick's special in Hurricane Mitch. On Friday, guys, I am absolutely gearing up for because we have the one, the only Chrissy Walker from Entering the Unknown Paranormal. I am absolutely buzzing for this because I've always been a big fan of Chrissy's. So,
Excellent.
looking forward to having her. So, it's going to be a good one.
Okay, and then on Saturday is a free Saturday. I think William was on last Saturday.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
he will be on this Saturday.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
on
yeah.
this Saturday, the 1st and 3rd Saturday of the month. So William has a show at 10 o'clock. And we are no spiritual hour this week, but we are spiritual hour the following week. So it's bi-weekly, the spiritual hour. And the boys will be back on Monday for their...
Dark Mirror.
The Dark Mirror. Yeah, my brain's so mashed. So Dark Mirror on Monday. So there's lots going on. And don't forget, there are other shows as well. I'm going to give Grizzly Chris a shout out. So he's got shows running through. Some of them are really good. So please catch Grizz. He's also on the Things Network. And there is so much on the Things Network to see. Honestly, there's some great shows, some really entertaining ones, some educational ones, and some just for the hell of it, So please check out the other shows. The show hosts, all of them, they work so hard. I'm not just speaking for myself and us, but all the show hosts work hard, and they put a lot of time and effort in. So, hats off to them, and I hope you can catch one of their shows. And, they're there. You can talk to them either in the chat or you can message them privately. Honestly, they do not mind. You can ask them anything within reason.
Yeah.
So we've been going an hour and 15 minutes.
You forgot the Jar of Doom.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Shall we get the Jar of Doom, Lois? Because you mentioned it, I think you should pick it.
Better not be shy.
Right.
She doesn't want MD Filipino picking the subject.
Go on, Lois.
Stop.
Oh, God. Right. We're going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm going to lay these out on the desk so you can see. Number 1. Number 2.
Jesus Christ, how many did you pick out, Viv?
Number 3. Number 4. Number 5 or number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6.
We'll go for number
6.
5. Nobody
This is the
asked
one.
you.
This is the one that you picked.
This is two.
This is what we're talking about
Oh,
next week.
Cliff, I didn't see the comment, or I would have said 2.
Do you want number 2?
Well, I tell you what, Cliff can pick my number for me and I didn't see it, so I'll go number 2.
Number 2. This
Number
one.
2. Yeah.
Number 2.
See, so if it's a rubbish
They're not gonna
subject,
try
I
it,
blame Cliff.
No, that complains, Cliff. Yep.
Aerial
Ooh.
Phantom.
Phantoms.
Aerial
Oh!
Phantoms.
That's a good one, Cliff.
See, Cliff,
So,
you lucky ducky.
so that's the one we're talking about next Tuesday. Aerial Phantoms. I'll
Okay.
put the others back in their pot and shake them about. Oh, we have a jar full of subjects in here. The jar of doom. So yeah, that's what we're talking about. Aerial Phantoms. That'll be a good one to talk about.
I think that was one of the subjects I tossed at you to,
Yeah.
was Aerial Phantom.
So that's what we're doing next week, next Tuesday. Hope you can join us for Aerial Phantoms. And if we don't know about Aerial
Right.
Phantoms, we'll just make shit up.
Always. Right, guys, I'm going to have to go and love and leave you, so see you. Oh,
Yeah. Bye.
bye.
Love ya, bye.
Bye.
Johnny's a good day.
So shall we end the show tonight now, Eric?
Yeah.
Sure. Have a good night, everybody.
Be safe,
Everyone,
guys.
thank you in the chat, everyone, and thank you for joining us. We appreciate you and love you lots. You take care, all.
Bye. It's